Hi everyone, I'm Louise from Architecture for Kids School. Welcome today. This is a really fun out of the box design challenge, and it's inspired by an architect called Sue Fujimoto, who's one of the most creative architects in the world. He's Japanese. I'm probably saying his name again, but he did an exhibition called Architecture is Everything or Architecture is Everywhere. And he wanted you to think about scale and materiality and form and really just delight people and spark your imagination and your curiosity. And I think it's a great challenge. So you're going to run around your house and you're going to start to look for things that look like architecture. So what is architecture? Is it form? Is it shape? Is it materiality? It goes beyond a shelter though, doesn't it? It should have design, interest. It should house the body. It should elevate your experience of the form. You should make connections with other people or the landscape or the city through it. So be open to really thinking outside the box. You're going to sketch your model after you make it. You might make several models. You might come back to this project many times. And I bet you, once you do this project, you'll look at everything as architecture and as potential to be on your model and become architecture is everything or everywhere. I think it's great. I really loved it. I ran this activity with about 40 high school students and primary students separately down at the National Gallery of Victoria, and it was super successful. I've run this activity online and it's been really great, and we're always happy to see what people can do. Get yourself some scale, like cut up a matchstick or cut up a straw, or get some of those architectural people. So you really are thinking about scale today. So you'll see some stapler architecture here, which looks very modular, very repetitive, especially the steel or the aluminium of the staplers has an architectural form, doesn't it? And it has openings that you can get through. So Sue Fujimoto, in his exhibition, he had stapler architecture, and this is my model from my student Ashwin. He made a staple building, which looks like Habitat 67 in Montreal. There's lots of architectural buildings, contemporary ones that look like this stapler architecture. So run around and look for things that are in your home that can feel like shelter and form. You're questioning what is architecture. You're questioning the notion of what is a floor, what is a ceiling. You're learning to think outside the box, train your brain to be as open to ideas as possible in your imagination. You're thinking about new possibilities you're thinking about scale. You're thinking about the human body in space. And you're learning hopefully about Sue Fujimoto. Have a look at some of his amazing buildings that are all about shape and materiality. He's such an exciting architect. So you're going to shrink your architecture. What in your house is architecture? Run around your house or go to the shops if you want to pause this video or do it at another time and come back to it. But have a few goes at it, as I said. Do you want to look for things that have volume, have shape, that are stackable, that you can manipulate, that have interesting elements, interesting color. So, as we said, get a human scale for get a little figure to represent a human, as you can, if you can see down here on this cardboard. Get yourself a base if you want to restrict your model making. Then, of course, I want you to sketch your design. So here we got some Christmas decorations and a bit of metal mesh that we found, and we gave this to the student and she compiled it. And look at how she's wrapped it up and over. Isn't that an excellent drawing? So we're calling that it's a bit of an elevation, bit of a perspective. It's a bit elevate. I'm going to say It's got characteristics of both. I don't think it's necessarily a full elevation, but it's a great drawing. Isn't that a great project? I really like this. I suppose the sheen of the polish finish makes it look architectural. It's the clustering of them, the elements together. Here we have some peg architecture, and the student has cut the little people out to give you scale. Isn't that wonderful? The pegs act like beams, and a jointing system, which is really great. She didn't have to use glue. Kind of a small model, but really great. If you look at the size of the human, looks like a gateway, looks like an entrance, could be a very dynamic building in a park. Yeah, I think the peg architecture is fantastic. So have a go at that. Have a go at all of these if you can. Do you have a new rubber sponge that you should be using to clean yourself with in the bath? Try the sponge. And then look, you can see the little humans. We have them in 2 sizes. I think that one there is a 1 to 100 and the smaller one's 1 to 200. They decided to use the 200, and you can see the student has mounted the sponge on an angle with a bit of a disc, with a lolly, and with a bit of, the spine for the binding. And there's even a mask here, which could be even another piece of architecture. So I'd love to see what you come up with. I think the color of the sponge is great. The texture is great. I think how the shape of the circle hits the sponge is very dynamic. What do you think of it? I think it's super contemporary. Possibly could have taken away the lolly or had a few more of them somewhere connected. But, this is where students do what they think is appropriate, and it's all good. Here is a model. It's a bit blurry, but the photo is showing you that the student is starting to create elevations, so flat drawings perpendicular to their model. You can see there's a blurry human there, and they're combining some triangles that we sourced with some coffee cups, some lids, and some circular discs that we found on their base. Quite a sculptural looking building, great use of colour. I think it looks great. And separating the 2 coffee cups gives you that shelter underneath, and the gap's really interesting, and the form's very interesting. I think in a, oops, thought I could maybe draw on this. Let's have a look. Having a triangle supported by 2 elements here with some big cantilevers. This triangle here becomes a cantilever. That's really exciting. There's even another base here. So sorry, the ground's down here. But that and the triangle, this wedge pushing out here, this is actually a very dynamic building, isn't it? Sorry, I could do that a lot neater. Another piece here, coffee cup. And what's the size of the person? Is the person this big or is the person this big? Changes the way you see it. But I'd love to see you draw your model exactly like this student here. I'm drawing on a vertical surface, so it's a bit harder than drawing on a piece of paper. Hope my computer hasn't crashed. Okay, so there we have some different students' work. Again, here's the 3D of the sphere design, and look at this little cute folly design with the straws on the diagonal, with the roof lid being on an angle tilted. Very dynamic, great use of floor. Here we have some paper cup architecture with the 2 sponges being buildings at the top. I think that's really fun, really dynamic. And here you can see the great elevation underneath. Here we have some licorice all sorts models building, which becomes modular. Again, as we said, stackable, very cool, very trendy. Love the colors. These students put a little 1 to 200 model there instead of a human at 1 to 100, which just makes the building bigger. Yeah, if you had to put the 1 to 100 there, the building would have shrunk, but now it does become more like an apartment building. I like how they've separated the color and mixed it up. They've got some cantilevers here. I think it's a great design, don't you think? See the elevation? Really cool. Hope you enjoy that. Pringle architecture. You might have done my hyperbolic paraboloid straw model video and you would have seen this slide already, but I think the Pringle architecture is super contemporary. Here my student Ashwin has cut some straws to represent people. I actually think those straws are too tall for the height of the Pringles. I think you'd hit your head. I think the building would be much cooler if the people were probably this size. What do you think? Even this size. And then the building really does become quite monumental. I think that'd be much more interesting. And then you get these great shapes. But yeah, Pringle architecture, have a go. We've got paper cup, what are we calling those things? Cake patty, cake tray domes. Some people stacked them, made them in a ring. Some people turned them into domes and put them sideways. Aren't they fantastic? I love the color. I love the glow that comes through, the transparency of them. They are wonderful. Have a try if you've got some of them. Love to see you do it. Perhaps that person's too tall there. That's a 1 to 100, maybe a 1 to 200 could have been better. What do you think of these drawings too? They're starting to look fantastic. I hope you have fun. I hope you go around your house and you find amazing things that represent or look like architecture to you, as long as they have a bit of wall, floor, ceiling or shape that you can sit in or connect other shapes to. I think that is architecture. Think about texture, color, shape, pattern, but most importantly, draw it and have some fun. And I think the reading of the model with the elevation is really exciting. And just open up your imagination, test this out a few times, and I would love to see you send it to me at Louise at Architecture for Kids School. I think a top tip is don't combine too many things together. Architects are fussy. We don't overcomplicate because we want to keep things in visual balance or harmony, but we also want to create variety and interest. So we don't stick a lot of things together. We don't mix and match shapes too much. We either do a geometric shape or this shape here, which is repetition. So think about your shapes. Don't go too overboard, but please think outside the box. Try and get some visual harmony. I suppose I'm trying to say, in a bit of unity, but mix it up, test yourself, see what happens. And I just cannot wait to see how you go. And please look up Sue Fujimoto and see if you like his work. And I just cannot wait to see what you come up with. Thank you for sharing my passion for architecture, and I hope you have a great time doing this and learn a lot and keep drawing. Thanks, everyone. Bye.